and welcome to Summer Bridge Increases Scholarships in the Humanities session. Hello, sunshine. I am Taurie Gittings Wheeler, Associate Professor of Humanities at the West Campus. I'd like to welcome you to this session as I talk to you about the Summer Bridge. In this session, we're going to discuss academic and career opportunities, FIU transfer opportunities, alumni engagement, mental and general health strategies, presentation opportunities, field trips, and excursions. These are some of the highlights of the Summer Bridge program. So what exactly is the Summer Bridge? Back in 2018, we started a summer program that allows MDC students to get a feel for what it's like to go to FIU. Each day, the students are engaged in a number of activities in which they are FIU students for a week. This program started in 2018, 2019, did a little break for COVID, and then resumed back in summer 2022. During this week, we take students that are mainly majors within the main areas, history, English, art, and art history, but we have now expanded that to include a number of the liberal arts majors. This is just a sample of what the students do each day. They come and they are fully immersed in the FIU life for a week. They get an opportunity to interact with FIU faculty as well as FIU students, and we also give them an opportunity to do some off-site visits, which we'll talk about. Well, what is the primary benefit of this? We want our students to think forward in terms of what will they do once they're done with their degree program at MDC. We also want students to get that real college experience because we know that most of our students are transient students. And of course, even if they're going to FIU, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be staying on campus, but it is an opportunity for them to get to know some of their future professors. Throughout the week, we also give the students an opportunity to immerse themselves in research, taking them from what they've started as their basis for research strategies at MDC, and then expounding upon those research strategies by engaging in a little mini research program throughout the week with FIU faculty peer writing mentors. I know you're thinking, this is a summer heart program. I am usually off for the summer. In this particular opportunity, we do allow faculty to participate in the way of receiving task points for their time. I know you're thinking, well, how would I be able to implement this at my campus? Not only for the students who are also getting a stipend for their time and their completion, but also for the faculty members. Speak to your campus administration, your campus deans. Lately, a lot of our campuses are starting to create program opportunities for our feeder pattern students to get them engaged and get them early on thinking about MDC as a viable opportunity for them to continue their education. So there might be perhaps be some funding, but then there are times I've done it myself with Summer Heart, in which I've volunteered my time for a day throughout my summer to just go and spend it with the students as a way to give back to my students because I want to ensure their success. I know volunteering may not always be the best option, but you never know. If you'd ask your faculty peers, they might be willing to help you out. And then again, also seek out perhaps maybe there are some funding opportunities through your campus in relation to recruitment and feeder patterns. So our first strategy for success that comes about with this summer week-long program that we offer is academic and career opportunities. It's very important for us throughout our semester that we have with our students, or if you teach something that is continuing course and they get to perhaps be with you for an entire academic year, what are the ways in which we can transfer what they're learning in the classroom and make sure that they understand how it can apply to their life and their career? Within the Summer Bridge, we did pivot. Originally, we started only with the students that were of the three main majors, but we realized that this opportunity should be expanded to everyone. So, well, not everyone, but most of the liberal arts. So the majority of the students come from a variety of majors. You see foreign language, computer art, animation, mass communications. This may be kind of the similar demographic of majors that you have within your classes. So what are the ways in which they might not necessarily be within the same academic area, but what are the ways in which you can make those connections so that, again, students see the viability of here's where I'm doing what I have to do and how I can connect it to what I want to do. That starts with a really good support system. So before the week even starts, we have a welcome assembly at MDC where we invite students to bring in their support. That might be parents, that might be significant others. Maybe perhaps you are in a curriculum area that maybe everybody doesn't see, well, how are you going to make money with that? I know you love it, but how are you going to make money with that? So at that program, we let them know, here are the ways in which this student can take the skills that they gain here, and here are the different career opportunities that they can have hereafter. Of course, that's reiterated throughout the week, but we want to make sure that we get in front of those ears that are also going to be listening to those parent support or those significant others and making sure that they realize, hi, this actually might work for you. So we always start off with a welcome assembly. So think in terms of your particular program. Are there ways in which you can have some sort of reception or some type of campus event where you can invite family, friends, significant others, whatever your student support group is, to let them come in and hear, hey, this may not be such a bad idea. So this is a brief little summary of some of the student responses that after their week at FIU, where they got to see, here are some people actually working in my field. Here are some people that are currently studying in my field. How did they feel in terms of their confidence? So the first question says, I feel much more confident in my decision. And you can see an overwhelming majority of the students felt that way. I feel a little more confident in my decision. And then my confidence in my decision hasn't really changed. We did have 2 students. We understand that we can't reach everyone, but we definitely keep trying. So the next area of strategy for success is we understand that a great majority of our students transfer to FIU, and the partnership between MDC and FIU is at the heart of the grant, and it can be at the heart of some of the things that you do within your own classrooms. It's really important where students not only get an opportunity to be at FIU, but they really get that full immersion of transferring from one class to another. They aren't really all over the campus, but they do have an opportunity to explore. This helps with the idea of setting goals. Not only am I going to finish my work at MDC, but now I can see myself transferring to FIU in particular, but maybe even another college or institution. So the students get an opportunity to explore FIU. They get an opportunity to sit under the trees and do their homework, or not homework per se, but working on whatever their project is. They get an opportunity to go into the student center to see where the students live, to see what other resources are available on campus. Now, I know in this picture, they're all wearing their Humanities Edge shirt, but they do have an opportunity to walk around the campus in their own clothes and really get a feel for what it's like to be on a college university campus. And that's really important. So we get students thinking, not only am I going to finish at MDC, but I'm going to transfer to FIU. I'm going to transfer to Emory. I'm going to transfer to wherever the next destination may be to continue their education. So think about it. Are there ways in which you can connect with faculty members from FIU that are in your same discipline? Maybe perhaps there's an opportunity where you can do some sort of virtual course together, or maybe even get together on FIU's campus. So that takes us to the next strategy for success: alumni engagement. Giving back. Are there ways in which you can tap into your students that are continuing on with their bachelor's, continuing on with their master's, or already working in your discipline and area, that are willing to volunteer some of their time to either virtually or physically come to your class and allow students to pick their brains, to find out what was it like when you transferred? What was it like when you finished your bachelor's? Is working on your master's very, very difficult? Now that you're in the field, tell me what it's like. Did you learn things here at MDC that you found really helpful in what you're doing now? It's very important for students to have that opportunity to hear from others that have gone through the struggle, that are in the midst of the struggle. And I think that those student voices, those former student voices would be a great opportunity. So you can bring them back into your classroom and say, hey, this is a viable career for you. This is a really good area. Look at this person, someone who was their first, first family member in college, and here's what they're doing now. I think that it's very important for our students when they are involved in the Summer Heart program to hear not only from students that went through the Summer Heart Bridge program themselves, but also the ones that are working within their disciplines. So what we do during that week is we give FIU students an opportunity to come in and speak. And they do like formal presentations, but then they also have an opportunity to sit with those students and just have a one-on-one conversation with them. So just think about, are there students that you still keep in touch with that are doing well, that are still within that particular field? Can you invite them in to come in physically or to come in virtually and share their voice with the students? Yeah, they listen to us, but we know that it's a lot better when you can hear from someone close to your age or someone who's also in the midst of what it is that you are currently trying to do. So our next strategy is mental and general health strategies. As you know, we've recently adopted a culture of care at MDC. I am still so jealous that our students get an opportunity to speak to a mental health counselor up to 6 sessions for free. These are the ways in which we help to take care of our students both in the classroom and outside of the classroom. So no matter what your particular discipline is, are there ways in which you can help students with their growth mindset? I know that when I used to teach high school, we called them brain breaks, if you will, an opportunity for the students to stop, connect, feel that anxiety, release that anxiety. So what we do during the summer bridge is we have an opportunity where students can take yoga. And, I think that's pretty relaxing. We also have Professor Michelle Grant Murray come in from Kendall campus, and she does a workshop with the students about tapping into their creativity. And I just want to highlight a few aspects of Michelle's or Professor Grant Murray's workshop for you, because these are things that you could easily adapt into your curriculum no matter what your discipline is. So one of the activities that Professor Michelle Grant Murray has the students to do is when we do those awkward introduction sessions at the start of our semester, here's what she does within this workshop with the students. So introduce yourself with one gesture, your name and what you like to be called, and your major. So for me, I love to be called Starry Taurie, and that gesture would be, I know, glamour shots, photos, and my major, of course, when I was coming up in undergrad was theater. So think about how students release energy, not only through the interaction with people, but being able to move their bodies. So Taurie, theater, or Starry Taurie, you get the idea. But make those awkward moments a little silly, if you will, to get the students to open up. These are ways in which we can get the students to release tension. I also love that as a part of this introduction is she takes a moment and she just has the students to breathe. Open your spine, open your mind, open, open. We want our students to be open. This type of activity might be useful in your class before a test. Our students have experienced online classes throughout COVID, and of course we've returned and it's been a little bit of time, but we know that they can still build up test anxiety. During COVID, they were able to take exams in the comfort of their own home. Now here I am surrounded by a bunch of people that I don't know, not necessarily the most comfortable of chairs. What would that be like for you to take a moment before you pass out that exam and just give everybody an opportunity to move their bodies, release that energy, and then bring in and be open to some positivity and relax before taking the exam? And then, of course, I love that last one, drink water. We can't drink in our classrooms, but we can definitely have water. So Another opportunity for you to get students to tap into themselves and also help you to get to know them a little bit better as we surround them with this culture of care and getting to know our students, finding out what's going on in their lives. She does an I am poem. And you may not necessarily be a writing course, but we know that we can incorporate writing no matter the discipline. This can be a really great opportunity to do halfway through your course or just before you're about to start maybe a group activity or group presentations. If you're going to give students an opportunity to get to know each other, this might be a great opportunity for you to explore. So I am. So what does Professor Grant Murray tell them to do? Have fun, be creative, inspire yourself, dig deep, explore your inner child, play, be vulnerable, be bold, be daring, and authenticity is a must. First thought is always your best thought. So teaching the students not to second guess themselves, to just go with it. So you can provide the students with something like this, a little prompt to kind of guide their writing. And I'm just going to read a couple of the prompts to you. So I am. Two radical characteristics you would use to describe yourself. So for me, I would say I am spontaneous and hilarious, right? Think about this. I love, name three things that you love. When you're thinking about those beginning opportunities for students to get to know and introduce themselves, instead of maybe having them write an entire poem, you might use some of these as a way to just give students a starting point to jumpstart some conversations, either within the entire class or in a smaller group, if you think that that's what students might feel more comfortable with. The whole point in this is giving students an opportunity to share a little bit about themselves so that we kind of feel like, at least in that moment, somebody is listening and somebody cares. And that's the most important thing that we can do for our students, is to let them know, hey, I definitely want you to take in all of this knowledge and information that I'm giving you, but also I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to care about you. I'm going to listen, I'm going to relate, and I'm going to understand a little bit about you, if only for a few minutes. So what are the ways, no matter what your discipline is, what are the ways in which you can take a moment and just help to tap into students, check in with them? This might even be in, say, a discussion board in which you just have it posted and just say, check in with me. Like every once in a while, just throughout the semester, let me know what's going on. You may have a student that doesn't necessarily talk a lot, that may be experiencing, a hardship within their family, whether it's financially or a death in the family. And it's not necessarily something that they want to openly share, but in that moment, you can give them a space, a place where they can say, hey, this is what's going on with me. So throughout the week in the summer bridge, we give students an opportunity to just check in, to connect with others, and to share a little bit about themselves. So the next one is a twofold, or it's a twofer, if you will. Strategy for success comes in the form of presentations. What are the ways in which you give students an opportunity to have presentations from other people, as well as an opportunity for them to present to other people? So throughout the week, we have a number of both the MDC as well as the FIU faculty to come in and do presentations with the students, bringing back that FIU transfer opportunity. Is there a professor in your discipline that you can invite to come in, again, physically or virtually, and do a presentation for your students? Are there ways in which you can get people from the community to come in if you're talking about a particular topic? I teach humanities, and in humanities, we go over a number of the humanities disciplines. So there's often times where I might find a local writer or a local poet to come in and do a workshop with my students, find a local artist and have them to come in. Those are ways in which I can get my students to connect the concepts that we're learning in class, and it's having someone else reinforce it, because I know sometimes they listen to other people more than they do to me. But throughout the week, we give both MDC and FIU professors an opportunity to come in. Think about an interdisciplinary approach. Is there a colleague that teaches a particular topic that's relevant to something in your curriculum that you can have them to come in and speak about? So for example, one of the areas that I cover in humanities is philosophy. It would be great to invite another professor to come in and give a mini lecture on stoicism or Epicureanism, something that is not necessarily my definite exact expertise, but they'd get a greater appreciation from someone else. So think about that. Are there ways in which you can ask people to volunteer their time to come in and present to your students related to your particular curriculum or a specific topic within your curriculum? So one of the other things that I love to do with students is to teach them about things like sketch notes. So one of the aspects of the week is we make a connection to Miami and get students to get a better understanding of the historical value that Miami has within our lives. And so what you see here is an image of students doing some sketch notes based on the presentation. So they start off by just listening to the presentation, taking notes on things that they connect with, things that they feel are important. And then they look at those written notes and go back and connect those written notes into visuals. That will help them to retain the information by just looking at the image, not necessarily just always looking at the text. So think in terms of ways in which you can get them to connect to the presenter and then transfer that information, say from writing into images, and that will help to further reinforce it. So presentations can be very important. But what about not just being presented to? What about giving the students an opportunity to present? So one thing that we started with the Summer Bridge process is a research aspect where students not only are doing the research, but they are connecting their own personal history to that research. So we have the students to ask their family members for some sort of artifact. So you see there an identification card. You see there on the other side a book. And we have them to do some research, speaking, doing interviews with their family members, and then doing some additional research on whatever that particular artifact is. And then they create a little writing sample. And this is not just something that is done in class. That research is then presented in a public forum. So is there a way in which you can establish a class project and that gives students an opportunity to connect their own history to whatever it is that you are teaching, but also most importantly, giving them an opportunity to showcase that work, that research. So here is the objects of personal historical significance. So the objects can be something that the students, their grandmothers, their mothers had, things that have been handed down, something within the family. And then through first opportunity or the opportunity to do some research, to do some interviews, they find out a little bit more about the history of the artifact, they write about it, and then those things are put on display. I'm sure there's a place on campus where you can have a little bit of wall space for a day or maybe even a week. Think about the ways in which you can give your students an opportunity to present in front of others. This would be another way for you to connect that academic aspect into your class, where you give the opportunity for us to make that connection between that parental or significant other support. So they get an opportunity to see what it is that they're doing, what it is that they're learning. So we have this display of curated artifacts, and that is something that we've implemented in the program throughout the years. And so here the students go through the whole curatorial process where they make decisions about where they want to align things based on the subject matter or based on the actual theme. So think about a way in which you can take that class project and give it a public viewing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a live presentation, although that would be really, really nice. But is there a way for you to give opportunity for students to showcase what it is that they're learning? Again, doing what I have to do what I want to do. They may not always say it, but everybody does love a little bit of recognition. So Our next strategy for success: field trips and excursions. And before you start saying it, it doesn't necessarily have to cost anything. You have some on-campus resources where you can take a field trip to as well. So throughout the Summer Bridge program, we've had an opportunity to take students to some of the local sites. Here you have Professor Paul George taking our students on a History Miami tour. You may not necessarily be able to take them far away as we did from FIU to downtown Miami, but are there some areas that you can take them on campus? Maybe perhaps you have a campus art gallery. Maybe perhaps you have some historical pieces on your actual campus. So for example, at Wolfson campus, they have an actual piece of the Berlin Wall. What is it, Padron campus, we have those roosters. Well, what's the significance of those things? Think about ways in which you can utilize resources that are on campus, your learning resources, tap into your faculty members, tap into your staff. I know at West Campus, we have a faculty librarian who was a professional opera house costume designer. Think about the people that you have on your campus and how you can utilize them as resources. They may be able to come in and do a presentation, or maybe it's just going from your regular classroom into another place on campus and being little explorers, if you will. But if you can take them off campus, whether it's during your class time or meeting up on another time in which everybody might be available, think about that. We have a lot of local museums that offer free and reduced rates for students to come. So next to Wolfson campus, you've got History Miami, you've got the Perez Museum of Art, you've got the Freedom Tower. Padron campus has Little Havana not far away. So are there places that are either on campus or places that are not far away that you can relate to your discipline area and take students on that little field trip? Again, maybe it's just the campus art gallery, but think about ways in which you can take kind of an interdisciplinary approach, and maybe that will give you a greater variety of things that you can incorporate and places that you can take your students. So with the Summer Heart program, I just want to highlight some of the student responses in terms of what was the best part of the program. Everything. I know the vast majority of the students won't say everything, but you are going to have students that are really just hungry for opportunity. And if you think about some of the strategies that I've shared, these are the ways in which you can increase that hunger and that appetite to learn and to know more about your discipline and about others. So the staff love their heart for their fields, and people can feel when you really care about it. And it's enough to say, like, I love my job, but you can really tell when someone loves their job enough that they're willing to come back and share it with others. I liked being surrounded by humanities majors. I enjoyed the experience of being in a cohort, creating a sense of community, tapping into that mental health and wellness of our students, getting them with other students that are in the struggle, the same process, the same major as them. Being exposed to a professional university curriculum that was very well organized. What surprised me most was the emotional response that you felt throughout. Although not expected, it was indeed intense and reflective. And I love this response here. They learned how to digitize, annotate, and archive historical artifacts. I learned to research knowledge and setting paths for myself. I understand more about Miami. I also know more about FIU and what it has to offer me. And then I love this one here. I know more about the transfer process, FIU, the different humanities disciplines, possible jobs, how language is used to separate and connect people, research, annotations, curating, thinking outside the box, how to be vulnerable, how to express myself, how to feel confident. And that ties in all of those different areas that I spoke about. These student feedbacks will be in a little handout for you, so I won't go through everything, but I learned more about career options and next steps. And this is what the Summer Bridge program allows students to do, to make that connection. I'm doing this now, and this is how it's going to connect to what I want to do in my future. So in wrapping up my strategies for success, how again can you implement these same opportunities that we've provided in the Summer Bridge program within your curriculum, whether it's for a semester or whether it's something that you have the students continue on with you from a course 1 into a course 2. Academic and career opportunities. Think about ways in which you can get the students to have some support. Are you going to invite advisors in to come in and speak? Are you going to utilize some of our online resources that we have? Are you going to organize some talks where students get an opportunity to have both their parents and their support systems to come in and learn a little bit more about what it is that they're doing? FIU or any other college or university, transfer opportunities. Explain to them, hey, this is the top school for this particular discipline. If you go here, here's some of the things that you're going to experience. Here are some of the things that you're going to do. Expose them so they kind of think forward to, after we leave MDC, it doesn't necessarily have to be the end. What else could I continue on to? If you can't bring them in physically, think about ways in which you can do a Q&A session. Have them share insights of what it's like at FIU or whatever that leading college is within your field. Alumni engagement. Bring those former students back, those that are continuing on to FIU and are currently there now, those that have recently finished, those that are actually just starting out, or maybe those that have been working in your discipline for a couple of years. Are there ways in which you can get those students, to get those people to share their experiences with your students? Then mental and general health strategies. Take a moment for self-care. It'll be good for your students and it'll be good for you. How can you incorporate that in your class? Not just in the beginning where we're getting to know each other, but all throughout the semester. Are there ways in which you can promote general health wellness? Please don't forget about our single stop, which gives students a number of resources from mental health to financial help. What are the ways in which you can let the students know, I care about you? Presentation opportunities, whether it's students showcasing their work or bringing someone in, I think this is a really great opportunity to get students to connect with each other, but connect what they've learned when they're able to share it with others. Are there any field trips or excursions, whether it's a local museum or whether it's just right on campus? Are there ways in which you can coordinate with perhaps student life to help you out with some field trips, financial support? Or are there places in which you can take your students free? And don't forget about virtual. After COVID, a lot of places like museums opened up their resources in a virtual setting. So are there ways in which you can get your students exploring? Don't also forget about our learning resources. Within learning resources, you can go in and get VR goggles. You can literally, I take my students to Italy. I take them, well, I do literally take them, but when it's not a study abroad course, are there ways in which you can virtually take students and connect them to the places in which you teach about? With that said, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. I'm Taurie Gittings Wheeler, 2023 AT&T Endowed Teaching Chair. You can reach me at the West Campus, and I thank you so, so much for your time. Remember, there are always ways for you to make that extension in and outside of your classroom to increase your students' success. And always reach out if you have any questions and need help on how to do it. Thank you.